Welcome to The Explainer. Okay, what if I told you that you have a superpower, but it's lying dormant? Seriously, it's the exact same power that geniuses like Leonardo da Vinci and Charles Darwin used to literally change the course of human history. It's the power of observation, and today we're gonna wake it up.
So, did you catch it? If you're drawing a blank, hey, you're not alone. We're about to get into exactly why our brains are designed to let details like this just slip right by. And more importantly, we're going to talk about how to fix it. Because this isn't just some clever party trick, it's a fundamental skill for living a sharper, more engaged life.
All right, let's jump in. Here's our game plan. First, we'll talk about this superpower you've lost. Then, we'll get into the nitty-gritty of why you don't really see what's in front of you. After that, we'll learn how to organize your mind's filing cabinet, take on the real enemy of observation, and finally, I'll give you 4 solid practical ways to reclaim your sight.
Think about it. Every single major breakthrough, from Newton figuring out gravity with an apple to an entrepreneur spotting that one little gap in the market, it all started with one simple act, just paying attention. See, observation isn't passive. It's not just looking. It's an active skill that creates world-changing ideas.
Take the incredible story of Safin Hassan. On paper, it looks like he aced one of India's most difficult exams with just 1 year of studying. But here's the real story. For the 4 years before that, he was obsessively observing, watching successful candidates, learning about the communities he wanted to serve. That deep observation was the real work. The book study, that was just the final, easy part.
So, if this skill is so incredibly powerful, where'd it go? We were all born expert observers. It's how we learned to walk, talk, and figure out the world, just by watching. The problem is, as we get older, our brain starts building these powerful filters. It actually starts working against us seeing everything.
Okay, prepare yourself for this number. Every single second, your senses are just getting flooded with an insane amount of information. We're talking 11 million bits of data. That's everything. The light in the room, the hum of your computer, the temperature of the air, everything.
But out of those 11 million bits, how many do you think your conscious mind actually registers? Just 40. That is, it's less than 1,000th of 1% of reality. Your brain is basically throwing away almost everything it takes in.
So there's a name for this process. It's called selective attention. The best way to think about it is like a mental spotlight. It's a survival tool, right? It helps you focus on the important stuff, like a car pulling out in front of you. But the flip side is that everything outside that tiny beam of light is left in complete darkness, totally invisible to you.
Let's put this to the test right now. You're about to see a quick video. Your only job, your only mission, is to count exactly how many times the girls wearing green shirts jump the rope. Got it? Focus only on that. Ready? Let's go.
All right, time's up. How'd you do? The answer is 38. If you got that, nice one. Your focus is spot on. You did exactly what I asked you to do. But that was only part 1 of the test.
And here's the big reveal. While your mental spotlight was laser focused on those jumpers, did you happen to see the person in a giant chicken costume walk right through the middle of the shot? For a lot of you, that chicken was totally invisible. That, right there, is selective attention in action. So what do? How do we fight this? Well, we can't exactly turn off the brain's filter, but we can learn how to aim the spotlight. And the secret to doing that comes from a concept made famous by none other than Sherlock Holmes. Sherlock thought of the human mind as an empty attic. He said a fool will just cram it full of any old piece of junk they come across. But a wise person is picky. They carefully choose only the most useful tools and furniture for their attic. So by deciding ahead of time what you want to notice, you're basically telling your brain's filter what's important, making your observations way more efficient. Let's give it a shot. I'm going to flash 15 random objects on the screen. I want you to completely ignore everything else and use your brain attic to remember only the things you can eat. You've got 15 seconds. Go.
Okay, time's up. How many did you Now, even with that focused mission, you probably only remembered about 5 to 7 items. And that's totally normal, because our short-term memory, it's got a pretty strict limit. But here's the thing. There's an even bigger enemy to clear observation than just our memory. You know, the biggest thing blocking you from seeing the world clearly? It's not the noisy street or some flashy ad. Nope, it's that constant chattering monologue going on inside your own head. It's that voice that's always analyzing, judging, worrying, and planning, instead of just seeing. We're going to call this the thought cloud. When we were kids, we just experienced the world through our senses. It was pure sensation. But then we learned language, and that inner voice just took over. Now, instead of just seeing a tree, we think, oh, that's a maple tree. I wonder if it needs water. Shoot, I forgot to reply to that email. That whole internal conversation completely blocks the raw data of right now.
And this is the most important part to get. Observation is always step 1. Thought is step 2. Your senses just gather the raw data, pure input. It's only after that that your brain jumps in to process and judge it. The trick to becoming a great observer is learning how to pause that second step, how to stay in that pure data gathering phase for just a little bit longer.
All right, so let's get to the good stuff, the practical toolkit. Knowing all the theory is fine, but actually putting it into practice is what really counts. So here are 4 simple but really powerful techniques you can start using today to cut through all that noise and start seeing the world with fresh eyes.
Okay, here's your new toolkit. First up, the 5-4-3-2-1 method. This is like a reboot for your brain. When you're lost in thought, just stop and name 5 things you can see, 4 you can feel, 3 you hear, and so on. It yanks you out of your head and back into the real world. Second, build that brain attic on purpose. Start your day by saying, today I'm going to notice interesting architectural details. You're aiming your spotlight. Third, to actually remember what you observe, use a memory palace. If you need to remember names, imagine each person doing something crazy in a different room of your house. Trust me, the weirder the image, the better it sticks. And finally, there's box breathing. This is your mental mute button. Just inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold for 4. It calms your whole system down and clears the air for pure observation.
So why does all this matter? Well, because mastering observation isn't just some cool mental trick. It's a direct solution to some of the biggest problems we face. When you're truly present, overthinking just melts away. You spark creativity because you're noticing new connections everywhere. You build way deeper relationships because you're actually seeing and hearing the people in your life. You can even defeat loneliness just by genuinely connecting with the world around you again. And ultimately, this whole journey of learning to see the world leads to one final, really powerful place. Once you get good at observing the world out there without judging it, you can finally turn that powerful lens inward, on yourself. So I'll leave you with this question. What do you think you might discover if you started to truly observe the observer?